I get the email that's like, hey, did you get my last message? I said, respectfully, I wrote, I did. And candidly, since it was our first interaction and went right into a salesy pitch that was clearly templated without any real desire to get to know me, I ignored it. And I have yet to hear back from that LinkedIn pitch. Hey there, Pitches. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Pitched, where our guests share their unfiltered stories of taking center stage as they pitch their boldest ideas. I am your host, Angie Trueblood, and the founder of the Podwise Group, a podcast interview marketing agency where we, you guessed it, pitch all day, every day. And that is why this podcast is so near and dear to my heart. If you have just discovered the show, I am so excited to have you here. Today's episode is a solo show, which I hope will be a treat for you. If you want to hear a more typical guest story, go listen to the episode right before this with Joy Hoover, where she gives us the inside scoop on pitching to be on Entrepreneur's elevator pitch show. It is so good. And if you are an OG listener of the podcast, welcome back, my friend. Thank you for your support over the years and also for sending in some content for this week's episode. You are the literal best. Now, today's show is all about highlighting some less than stellar pitches, whether that's through email or LinkedIn, and whether the idea being pitched is to be a podcast guest or a business partner. You name it, we are covering it all in our quest to rid the world of crappy pitches. But before we dig in, it is time for our podcast love of the week segment. Now, this week's contributors are also hosts of their own podcast, many of them anyway. I did pull some from LinkedIn. So I wanted to highlight the folks who were so gracious enough to send in some of the pitches that they have received that they didn't actually love. If you have a bad pitch to send in, shoot me an email at angie@thePodwiseGroup.com. I have a label in my email and I will save it for a future episode. So contributors this week, Jennifer Mackey Mary, who you have heard me talk about ad nauseum. She is a friend of mine and I subscribe to her podcast. I'm also in her membership. She hosts the Everyday Style School podcast, which inspires you to love the way you look every day and gives you the tools to make it easy. Then we have Erin Alilla, host of Talk Copy to Me. She is another friend of mine. We worked together when I had a pitching membership, and we've just been good friends for a long time. Her show is all about content and copywriting for small business owners, which I think all of us, if you're listening to my show, you likely would be interested in Erin's show. Last but not least, my friend Casey Gromer hosts the Female Founders Breaking Barriers podcast, where she shares ways to ditch the methods that don't work for women in favor of a new way of approaching entrepreneurship that paves the way for success. So if you are a small business owner and a female founder, Casey's podcast would also be a great fit for you, I bet. So go check out those 3 podcasts, and I'm anonymizing the pitches that I read today as much as I can. So I don't know that you'll necessarily know who, actually you will know. I'm just going to let you know who the pitches were sent to so you have perspective on how either on the mark they were or off the mark they were. All right, let's chat a little, my friend. So why am I producing an episode on bad pitches? Well, one, it's kind of fun, right? Some of the pitches that I get in my email inbox are beyond ridiculous. And I do believe some of the increase in the number of pitches that I am getting, a lot of them are actually for people to work with me. Like they are interested in us hiring them to do something. And I think a gazillion of them are AI generated. So I think that's one thing. And AI doesn't always hit the mark, my friend, especially when there's no human overseeing it. So all in all, it's kind of fun to read these and know that that is what is actually going on. Secondly, I want you, if you are pitching yourself for different opportunities, to know what you're going up against. And by that, I mean the quality of pitches that are being sent out is not high. So you have a huge opportunity to be able to stand out against the crowd. So have faith in knowing that. And if you're thinking, well, I never get pitched, I don't know what's going out from other people's inboxes, well, I am going to share it with you. Another reason is that I want to give some practical tips on pitching, right? Whether you are pitching through email, through LinkedIn, even if you're doing an intro pitch in an Instagram DM, whether it's to be a guest on a podcast, for a collab, for business, let's get some practical tips and some how-to as a result of knowing what doesn't work, right? So do this, not that, is the angle of the show. And then thirdly, to offer up some grace when it is warranted, because there are pitches that I receive that I can tell the person sending had a real intent of connecting with me. And maybe their topic is off for my show, but I can tell that they've done a little bit of legwork to show up in my inbox. And I say this, offering up grace when it's warranted, because with the number of pitches that my team sends every day, have we effed up from time to time? Yeah, for sure. We don't do it regularly, but over the course of are we at 7 years now? We're looking at 7 years of being in business. We have sent emails that have broken links. We have sent topics that didn't align with the show. This hurts my heart. We have sent pitches to shows that don't typically host guests. And we've sent pitches to shows that our clients have already guested on. Does that make me happy? No. Do I know that for us, it is a natural part of growth? Yeah, it's going to happen. Do I see every one of these opportunities as a chance to tighten up our own processes and add in some stop gates to make sure it doesn't happen again? Yep, that's exactly what I tell my team. When one of these things happen, they bring it to me and I coach around it, and then we put processes and systems in place to keep it from happening again. So I don't want this episode to come off as oh my God, can you believe what these other people are doing? We are so perfect. No, we have had mistakes, right? Are the majority of our pitches spot on? Yeah, absolutely. And I think the important thing is, do we respond and apologize when we have messed up? Yeah, totally. If the response to us is respectful, we will absolutely, what is it called? Eat crow and apologize so that the host knows it wasn't our intent to, send them some blanketed lame email. So let's get into it. I'm going to read the pitches as anonymously as possible, and then I'm going to share what's good about them, what could be improved, and what you should look out for. And this episode is going to be kind of off the cuff because, one, I have a lot of them. I'm not going to do them all today, but I think it's important for you to get my kind of honest response and reaction. Okay, so this is one that was sent to Aaron, host of Talk Copy to Me. I think I'm going to pretend and just do that, like that I have an audio sound and I'm going to beep out names. Bear with me. Okay, let's see how it goes. Hi, Aaron. Episode 103's take on wireframing was spot on. It aligns with beep beep's precision in email deliverability, turning a music degree into a thriving business. His agency, Beep Beep Beep, has sent 20 to 30 million emails, engaging giants like Beep and Visa. Beep's ready to dive into SEO and copywriting's role in effective email campaigns on Talk Copy to Me. With 8,000 B2B leaders tuned in, he'll boost the episode's exposure. Could Beep add value to your audience? Cheers, Beep. P.S. Beep Beep connects influential guests with top podcasts for mutual audience growth. And then there's a signature at the end. Okay. What did I like about this? One, I liked that it was short, so it wasn't a super long email. I like that the pitcher included the name of Aaron's show, Talk Copy to Me, also included Aaron in is it salutation? Yeah. Hi, Aaron, right? used her name, spelled everything correctly. That was very great. I like that this pitcher offered up a topic, SEO and copywriting's role in effective email campaigns, right? It's specific. What could have been done better? Now, what I don't love about this pitch is, first of all, there are no links included. So if Erin wanted to get a sense of who this guest was and check out the website, social media, previous podcast interviews, there is no way to do that other than Googling the name that was given. I don't think it's up to the host to have to navigate all around and figure that out. So that is definitely something I would recommend improving upon. I don't love generally when people who are pitching to be a guest on podcast or really pitch for anything just generally drop some publicly known information that didn't require them to go a little bit deeper than just, in this instance, looking at the names of Erin's previous episodes and pulling that content. That first sentence says, episode 103's take on wireframing was spot on. How so? How was it spot on? What was so great about it? And then how does that actually connect with what this guest does? It is saying it aligns with this person's precision in email deliverability. I don't think that has anything to do with wireframing. Call me crazy. Email me if it does. But they didn't do a good job, in my opinion, of bridging the gap of where this topic would benefit Erin's audience. In fact, there was really no mention of Erin's audience and how to serve them. The topic that was suggested, SEO and copywriting's role in effective email campaigns, there are things that could have been done with that topic to point out to Erin how it could be beneficial to her audience. It could have said, I assume, you wouldn't say assume, but knowing that your audience values content and SEO, I have to assume, or whatever, I have to imagine that they are also partaking, again, not the word, it's just off the cuff, partaking in email marketing. They're very closely related, right? SEO, copywriting, email marketing requires copywriting. Point that out. And so you can bridge that gap, but that is not what this person did. Also, they alluded to this person's 8,000 B2B list leaders, saying that I guess this guest is bringing with them an audience that will listen. We don't know where that audience is unless we go Google it, right? And so for me, if someone has 5 million TikTok followers, I don't really care. I am not on TikTok. So that is of not much value to me unless they're going to promote our episode on TikTok with a link to the podcast, right? So let the host know where your followers are coming from and do your due diligence in saying, I see you're active on LinkedIn. I have 8,000 followers on LinkedIn that I would promote this episode to. So there's ways to leverage your existing audience as someone who is pitching, but not in this generic form. Now, the last thing, and I didn't share what the actual signature said, but it's this guy's name. He's an account manager at beep beep. And the tagline that there is an AI platform that helps podcasts grow. So to me, and I emailed Erin back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I so bet this is an AI generated pitch because it screams of generic, right? To me, it is not, even though her name is included and the name of her podcast is included, which I do give very high marks for, there wasn't a lot of specificity around what that conversation might entail or how it could benefit Erin's audience. So that was a red flag that I saw. And finally, the subject of this email, which I should have said in the beginning, is strong suggestion from a fan. Okay. I am sure the person that pitched this is not a fan of the podcast, right? So just say what the email is about so that it's not like clickbait for her to open it up. When we send pitches, we were like, oh, I just discovered your podcast. If our person just discovered it. It's not like I'm a raving fan because we're not listening on repeat to all of the shows that we pitch. So just be honest in how you are approaching this. Okay, so that was our first pitch. Now, this next one is an email I received as a pitch to work with another company. And the subject line was podcasting for business. And this is what I received. Hi, Angie. My company books successful entrepreneurs on top podcasts to boost their visibility. Our company has helped clients close funding rounds, drive sales, create new marketing content. Let me know if this would be a good fit for your business. Here is a link to my calendar so we can find a time to chat. Happy podcasting. Okay. I promptly responded back. I don't always respond back to pitches that I do not love. And my line back to them was, that's literally what we do. So this company was reaching out to me to see if I would be interested in having them book me to be a guest on other people's podcast. Let me insert a little ad for this episode. If you are looking to be a guest on someone else's podcast, please schedule a time for you and I to connect to chat about how we could support you, whether booking you directly or giving you the strategy and pitch list to do so. If you want to do that, go on over to thepodwisegroup.com/services. There's a calendar at the very bottom of the page. Back to regularly scheduled programming, my friend. So this was a pitch to obviously work with them. I receive at least 2 to 3 of these every single day, which drives me bananas. Most of them I get repetitious responses to if I haven't responded in like a day. So what did I love about this email? Well, I actually don't mind the intro line. My company books successful entrepreneurs on top podcasts to boost their visibility. It's very clear. It's very succinct. Awesome. I would have loved to have a link, right? So that I knew the name of the company and who they are, what they do. So I could, again, go and do my own due diligence. I like that they shared what they've helped their company or what they've helped their clients do. I mean, the main thing is they really effed up the targeting. They didn't look to see who I was or what my business is. They included a link to schedule a time to connect. I hate this. I don't know. If it would have been something that would have been more aligned with what I was searching for in my business, I might be open to it. And actually, I did receive a pitch 2 days ago from a company, and I was a bit intrigued as to how they wanted to potentially partner. And I clicked over to their website, poked around, and at some point I might actually schedule a call with them. So I don't know that the link to the calendar is my issue. I think it's just that they were so off the mark in sending this email to me. So interestingly enough, they never responded to my response. Shocking. I know. Next up is a pitch to Jennifer Mackey Mary to be a guest on her podcast, Everyday Style School. It's a long one. There's no way in hell I'm reading all of it. I love you too much. So the subject was veteran MUA and founder of beep boop boop lipstick emoji dash beep beep. So I'm going to repeat that again. It said veteran MUA and founder of, it included the name of a makeup school, I think. There was a lipstick emoji in the subject line and then the name of the person. Okay, I just Googled what is MUA because this phrase was included throughout the pitch. It is a makeup artist. I did not know what that was. Jennifer, I'm wondering if you knew that as well. Jen is not a makeup artist and she's not really in the makeup space. So she might have known, she may not have. I don't love the idea of using an acronym in the subject line that isn't really relevant to whom you're pitching. So let's see how far I can get through it. It's a lot. Jen actually said someone paid someone to send this pitch. And okay. Hi, Jennifer. I'm reaching out about Beep Beep, the founder of the Beep Beep coming on the Everyday Style School to discuss topics such as the importance of being a professional taught MUA versus self-taught, and what aspiring MUAs can expect getting into the industry. Beep beep to students in 2010 as a destination program that elevates beyond the typical cosmetology school into a unique and highly sought after learning institute. Then there is a lot more words about this school and what they do for makeup artists. Next paragraph. Beep Beep is one of the few makeup school programs, and then there's a lot more information on this program. Next paragraph. Since 2010, Beep Beep has opened a second makeup school. A lot more information, a couple of name drops of like where the students have gone on to work. All right. And then next paragraph, and this is like kind of nicely segmented, topics that Boop is prepared to speak on. And then there's 6 different bullet points. Let's see what we can do with these. The importance of being professional taught. Learning from YouTube alone doesn't cut it. The lifestyle of a celebrity MUA. Understanding the laws of your state. Can you operate the same business in a different state? Tips for growing your solo MUA business. The demeanor and character traits that must be carried as a MUA. What is the market demand for MUAs? Then there's another section, more about boop, boop. And then there's a lot of information about the guests that's being pitched, where that person has worked, all of that type of stuff. And then there's a link to that person's website, social media. Okay, so that is the pitch. Okay, first up, what do I love about it? Well, I do appreciate that they got Jen's name correct. The Everyday Style School podcast, that name was included in the pitch. Excellent. I love that the first line said what the intention of the email was. I love that a link was included for this school that this person founded. I also like that the website and all of the social links were included. I think that's important. I didn't have to poke around to learn more, right? I love that the topics that were pitched were bulleted, so that was easy to stand out. It was very easily digestible. Now, what I do not like, it was super long, and the 3 paragraphs were all about this person and this makeup school. That's way too much. That level of information really only needs to be shared once the host has said, yeah, that's a cool topic. My audience would be interested in it. And it really just sort of crowds the pitch to where Jen likely never even got to the topics before she was like, delete, or let me forward to Angie, right? So what I would have loved to have seen is just a quick intro. Even in that first paragraph, I'm reaching out about this person who did this thing and to see if she could come on and talk about the importance of being a professionally taught MUA versus being self-taught. However, again, the angle is not at all aligned with Jennifer's audience. Her audience is everyday women who are listening to her podcast to learn how to dress themselves, right? It's not angled towards makeup professionals. Very likely, a 45-year-old woman listening to Jen's podcast is not all of a sudden going to decide to become a makeup artist because they have learned to style themselves so fabulously. So they were totally off the mark in this angle. Now, an actual angle that they probably could have taken would be how to use makeup to accentuate your outfits. Now, yes, that is not highly promoting the makeup school directly, but it is allowing this person to come on a show. Granted, it wouldn't be worth it because the people that listen to Jen's show are very likely not going to become makeup artists. Let's say there was an off chance that they could, or that this was an authority building podcast to where this guest just really wanted to increase the number of people that knew about her and her brand, then she could likely really have a conversation with Jen on how to use makeup appropriately. And Jen would have given her a bit of time to share who she was and what she has founded, right? Establishing her as an expert in makeup. But that was not what this pitch included at all. That's my basic gist of this one. I think it was just off the mark in the angle. And I think she probably could have gotten accepted, actually, if she would have twisted and just like shifted the focus to not being about promoting the school, which is obviously what it seemed like, and more about how can I serve your audience with what I know, makeup. All right, next pitch. We have 2 more. This one is from my friend Casey, groomer, and she actually did the legwork for me, telling me what she hated about the pitch. So let me go ahead and read it. Again, her show is Female Founders Breaking Boundaries. Okay. Subject line, potential podcast guest. Hey there. Hope you're having a great Saturday so far. I am based in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's very, very gloomy and raining today, sadly. Anyway, I just wanted to reach out because I came across your podcast and would love to be considered as a guest to talk all things PR/tips that I have for business owners. I have so many clients who are entrepreneurs that I have seen all the good, bad, and ugly. My PR background is pretty standard. Womp womp. After college in a small town, boop boop, I moved to boop boop to pursue my career in entertainment PR. For 7 years, I worked with some of the top firms/celebs/brands in entertainment. It was about as exciting as you would expect. I loved my time in boop boop, but shortly before I turned 30, my grandma passed away and my second nephew was born, so I made the decision to move back to boop boop to be closer to my family. Upon relocating, I spent some time in the advertising world, which was just not a good fit. I'm a PR girl through and through. 3 years ago, I started boop boop, and after nearly 10 years in PR, I realized I could do so much more for my clients one-on-one. I have been extremely lucky to be able to choose the clients that I want to work with that I know I could make a major impact with. Helping clients tell their stories in unique and unconventional ways is so exciting to me. I am definitely not a send a press release and hope it works type of PR pro. All of that said, I'd love to come on the podcast and chat about my experience and views on PR. Additionally, I'm very open and willing to speak about burnout and my own mental health struggles. I believe it's so important to share these stories so others don't feel alone. All right. What do I like? It's pretty short. When I have it up on my screen, it's like 4 paragraphs and they're fairly short. I appreciate that. There was a level of humanity in the communication, like, hope you're having a great Saturday. It was sent on a Saturday. So it did seem personalized, right? And I did like that at the end, there was a mention of a topic that might potentially bridge back to Casey's show. Speaking about burnout, my own mental health struggles. I think there's an opportunity there that we'll talk about. But yeah, let's see what Casey did not care for. Number 1, she drones on and on about herself. Fair. Number 2, absolutely no connection to relevance to my podcast. Also fair. So to tighten that up, there were 2 full paragraphs about her experience, and not just her experience, but her actual journey. So it was kind of like this journey pitch, right? And if that is what she was going for, because there are some hosts who share the journey of their guest. I mean, kind of like what we do, right? On our traditional guest interviews, I want people to tell me about an experience they had, a story. Now, if that is what this person was pitching, they could have bulleted it and firmed it up a little bit and been very clear on how her story could have benefited Casey's audience. So if I reworked it, it would potentially be about, PR agency owner comes back from burnout, right? And then you could have kind of taken Casey through what that story was. But the way it's presented in the pitch is really just about her journey in PR and PR entertainment. So I think that is a challenge. And the actual pitch topic was chatting about my experience and views on PR. That's not relevant enough for Casey's audience. And it doesn't say, like, how are they going to benefit from it? Will they walk away knowing how to pitch themselves, right? Will they walk away from it knowing how to avoid burnout? It's very much not clear. A couple of other things. There are no links other than it looks like it was the owner of the firm that pitched this. So there are links after the signature, but like throughout the pitch, there aren't any links to the website, which I would have liked to have seen. I don't like the sentence that says my PR background is pretty standard. Ma'am, we're trying to stand out from the crowd. We're not going to pick pretty standard guests for our shows. So pep it up a bit, my friend. I think the reference to the weather is kind of like that lame conversation that you would have at a cocktail party, right? You don't want to be talking about the weather. There's got to be something more interesting to talk about. So I don't need to know what the weather is like in your town today. So I think that is my major takeaway. Again, I think there was opportunity here that this person just missed. Darn it. And the subject line is potential podcast guest. We got to zhuzh that up a little bit so that Casey would have known what is the topic of this pitch. Like, if it's a topic that I like, I'm going to open it and read it. If not, I might just delete it without opening it. So that was an area of opportunity as well. Okay, last one is a LinkedIn pitch that I received. And I know this is running rampant, so I had to cover at least one of them. I got a connection request the other day from someone. Looked like we had friends in common. Not friends. What do you call them on LinkedIn? Connections in common. And we seem to be in similar spaces. So I get after, I think it was a note sent in the connection, looking forward to connecting. Okay, cool. I didn't have like the little red flags up on my back. Sometimes I can tell with my LinkedIn connection request if they say they're an iTunes promoter or podcast promoter, Apple podcast promoter. Those are automatic deletes. Okay, so she says, looking forward to connecting. I say, hi, beep. Great to connect with you here. This was all in one day. I got a note from her looking forward to connecting. Well, I guess it came through when I accepted it. And then I said, hey, great to connect with you here. Less than 3 hours later, I get this. Angie, curious to know, what sparked your interest in business? I ask because capitalized entrepreneurs often turn to us when they're overwhelmed, burned out, or stuck and want to achieve significant breakthroughs fast. High-performing entrepreneurs like yourself don't have time for a long, drawn-out coaching program. You need precision-focused action steps that drive growth. If that resonates with you, I'd like to offer you a complimentary clarity session. During the session, you'll gain valuable resources to reduce stress, increase income, and reclaim your time. You'll also discover high-level strategies successful business owners are using to achieve their ambitious goals. If you are interested, let me know when you're available for the session. Looking forward to hearing from you. The next day, I got a message from her. Hey, Angie, hope you're doing well. I know how crazy it can be running a business. Just checking if you saw my last message. Okay, what did I not like? It was super assumptive in knowing what my challenge is. Well, let's take a step back. The first question she says is, what sparked your interest in business? Ma'am, I do not know you, and I don't need to tell you my whole life story. You connected with me, okay? Then she kind of assumes, she assumes I'm a high-performing entrepreneur, which I definitely appreciate, but I still do not like the assumptive nature of that, because then she says, what I need is a precision-focused action step that drives growth. So I just didn't like it. I don't like coming out the gate with no real interaction and no knowledge of what my challenges are to offer me a clarity session. I don't know you, ma'am. So I get the email that's like, hey, did you get my last message? I said, respectfully, I wrote, I did. And candidly, since it was our first interaction and went right into a salesy pitch that was clearly templated without any real desire to get to know me, I ignored it. and I have yet to hear back from that LinkedIn pitch. So I hope this has been helpful. I have more. I didn't think I would didn't think I would have this much to say on each pitch. And I hope you found it actually very helpful with some solid takeaways. Again, my goal is to know what you're up against, right? And knowing that can help you stand out from the crowd by doing some of the things that I recognize were not done in these pitches. So if you have any pitches that you consider to be off the mark, send them to me, Angie at thepodwisegroup.com. If you want help sending your pitches so that they land more authentically and effectively and never get read out loud on my podcast, schedule a time to chat with me over at thepodwisegroup.com/services. And for sure, connect with me on LinkedIn because sometimes I do share the pitches that I receive there. I'm at Angie Trueblood over on LinkedIn. I would love to connect with you. All right. I want to hear what you thought of this. Let me know. We're not being mean. We are learning from opportunities and we will get out there. And if we pitch ourselves, we will pitch ourselves better. And if we need help pitching, we will get it. Okay. That is it for this episode. Until next time, be well, be visible, and get pitched. Thanks for listening to this episode of Pitched. If you would love to get pitched to be a guest on podcast, we here at the Podwise Group would love to help you. We offer 2 primary services to support our clients in landing and converting podcast interviews. Whether you want to handle the pitching yourself or you'd like our team to do it all, hop on over to our site, thepodwisegroup.com/services to check out how we can help. If one of them suits your fancy, you can schedule a time to connect with me right there. I am so looking forward to connecting with you.